Hey y'all, I'm Danielle. Welcome back to Testimony and Transparency, where I share real life stories about faith, marriage, motherhood, and entrepreneurship, all to encourage you in your walk with the Lord. In today's video, I want to show you guys my book. I got a copy of it in the mail, and I am very, very excited and just blown away at how God brought this all together. I want to talk with you a little bit about how this started and just the process. I hope that this video will not only encourage people to read the book, but also encourage those who want to share their testimony, or maybe they just want to write a book about something to encourage them that you can do this too. Like, y'all, I had no idea what I was doing, but by the grace of God, we wrote a book. So here is the book. It is called Every Testimony Matters. And oh my gosh, y'all, what a blessing. What a blessing. I'm just in awe. I'm in awe of the goodness of God and just how this all came together so beautifully. I knew when I left my previous relationship that I was going to have to tell my story. I knew it would either be through a short film or through a book. I had an outline in October 2023 of what each chapter was going to be. And I finally started writing the book about 6 months later in March of 2024. And my goal was to write the book by the end of 2024. That was my one goal. And so I sat down on December 31st, 2024, and I finished the last chapter. And then it took me a while to get going. And so then I kind of paused and I was just really intimidated by what to do next. I was like, okay, I wrote the script. Now what? Me and my husband, we weren't in a financial place to where we had a lot of extra money to put towards the book. And so I was just really intimidated and nervous about how this was going to come together. And I said, you know what, Lord, you know our financial situation. And I told my husband, I said, we're not going to spend a dime getting this book out there. And I started a fundraiser for this book. And so once I fundraised some money, then I was like, okay, let me hire a professional editor and we're going to get this done right. And so I hired a professional editor and she started working with me in April 2025. And it was an amazing experience. She gave me a lot of good feedback. I'm very thankful for the time that her and I worked together. But having to rely on someone else to help me edit really delayed me getting my story out there. And I realized this back in, it's probably August. I was reading a book called Killing Comparison. And this book, highly, highly recommend you go read it. I didn't realize how much insecurities I had, and I didn't realize how much fear I had in getting this book released. And it was this thought to where I didn't care who read my story as long as it wasn't anyone who knew me. And I was like, well, everyone who knows you is going to want to read this book. So what are you going to do? And so it was that fear that just kind of enabled me to delay. And I started feeling really convicted about that. And so then I was, continuing to read other books. And it was like, Danielle, how many more books are you going to read of other people sharing their testimony before you share yours? And so it was just like, goodness, I had to get it together. And so I was trying to have the editor helped me to finish, but it ended up not working out. We ended things on really great terms. And I think both of us were kind of relieved that it ended because she had a lot going on. And I was just really excited to just get this finished. I contacted a guy that I met on TikTok and he had written his own testimony. And I had reached out to him to just kind of get some guidance. And through that conversation, he had mentioned to me that it would be a good idea for someone to read my book before I published it. And I was like, well, I don't know about that because I don't want anyone I know to read the book. And so he was like, well, why are you so afraid? And I was honest with him. I said, well, I don't want anyone to read it because I don't want them to judge me. And they're going to know. They're going to know what I've really been through, and I don't want them to look at me differently. And he was like, yeah, but your testimony is not about you. It's about pointing people to Jesus. And y'all, the weight that was lifted when he said that to me, it was like, yeah, forget me. If this can just get more and more people to get to Jesus, get a relationship with Jesus, surrender to Jesus, Like, that is my goal. That is my goal. And so I was all in. I was like, "Okay." I was praying like, "Lord, who can read this book?" And a friend of mine came to mind. She is very well read, and I really admire her writing. And so I reached out to her and asked her to give me feedback on the book, and she did. And there I found a free site to format the book. And y'all, it's really just all come together. And so I did get the first proof last week, and there was just a couple of changes that needed to be made. So I got the second proof today. It wasn't supposed to come till tomorrow, but it got here a day early, and it looks so good. I am just so excited for everyone to read this. And it's just crazy how the Lord will help you overcome things. Like a couple of months ago, y'all, I was enabling the delay. I was like, well, it's okay. It's just longer for people to have to read my story. And now it's like, I can't wait for everyone to read what the Lord has done in my life, because He has truly changed my life. My heart, my mind, everything is changed because of Him. So, just to back up a little bit, so I let the editor go, and I was going to hire a designer. I was going to have someone to format the book, design the cover, everything for me. And I knew after I let the editor go that I was on my own, that there wasn't going to be another person that was going to come help me put this book together. And I was just going to have to trust God that He was going to help me figure it out. And He did. When I sat down to design the cover, I had no idea. I was just like, well, I don't know what to do. And then all of a sudden, vision of this flower coming up from the concrete just came to mind, and it just came together so perfectly. And then the back of it, I did the front and I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. And then the back was like, what am I going to do with the back? And then this just came together perfectly. The back of it says, I spent many years knowing Jesus was real, but I never had a relationship with Him until my life completely fell apart. I pray that the pages in this book point you towards Christ. I pray that you have an undeniable encounter with Jesus and desire to get to know Him through His word. He is our hope and our answer for everything. I pray that reading my testimony encourages you to share your own testimony, because every testimony matters, even yours. And the verse that I put on the back of this came from me. And this is just a little side note, but I've been doing Mornings with Jesus on TikTok, and we're reading through the Old Testament together. And this is a psalm that I read in October. And so when I read it, it was like, wow, how fitting. And so the verse is, He put a new song in my mouth, a song of praise to our God. Many will see and fear and put their trust in the Lord. And I just thought that was perfect for this book. It's Psalm 40. Verse 3. But here it is, my first book. I hope to release this next week. So if you are interested, stay tuned, because it is coming very, very soon. So, y'all, this is it. Every testimony matters, a testimony of finding purpose from pain through God's saving grace. I hope to launch this next week. And I hope this encourages somebody. If you think you can't, you absolutely can. Y'all, I had no idea. I thought writing the script, okay, I was going to hire somebody to edit, design, format. Everybody was going to do everything. When I let my editor go, I knew that God was teaching me a lesson that I can. Everything I thought I couldn't do, that I wasn't qualified to do, that I wasn't creative enough to do, that I didn't have all the systems and stuff to do, God showed me, yeah, you can. You can. And He just directed me and put people around me to pour into me, to give me resources. I was able to use online resources to research, and this is what came of it. And I'm just so thankful, because, man, you think you can't, but you actually can. And it's all through the Lord. He gets all the glory all the time. Who knew? Who knew? But here it is. Here's the proof. And you can do it too. If you have a story you want to get out there, whether it's your testimony or just the story that the Lord has given you, you can do it too. I promise you can. Put your hope in Him. I think a lot of times we can rely on what we know and what we have, and we can look at it and think like, yeah, this isn't, I'm not going to be able to do anything with this, but God can do it all. He can do it all. So here's my book. Very, very excited to share this with y'all. I do pray that it points people to Christ. I pray that the message is received, and I pray that people are humbled. I pray that this book humbles people who look down on other people who have made bad decisions or who are in a tough time because of the poor decisions they made. I pray that this humbles you because my journey has certainly humbled me. So, anyways, here it is one more time. Yay! I cannot wait. I cannot wait. All right. I love y'all and I'll see y'all in the next video. All right, bye.